My name is Brent Weaver. I know at least one person here, Tim Strebkoff. We were just on a webinar. Good to see you, man. But for those of you that don't know me, I'm the CEO and founder of UGURUS. We're basically a business school and accelerator for digital agencies. I've spent the last 10 years of my life working with agency owners that are struggling to attract and win high value, high paying clients. I ran a digital agency called Hot Press Web, had about 14 people, 7-figure business, 300 clients under active management, clients like Adobe, Dish Network, Anheuser-Busch InBev. Lots of fun stuff. We were a top 10 fastest growing company in Denver, Colorado for a couple of years in a row. We were featured for donating over $100,000 in pro bono services in 1 year. And ultimately we grew an agency that was worth something, and our business got acquired in 2012. And I've spent the last 10 years helping agency owners achieve freedom in their business and life. One of the things that I found so much from my journey, I don't know how you guys feel about this, especially if you're 100% in the sales seat yourself, is, how many of us feel like we're kind of on this roller coaster, like the feast and famine cycle, right? Like you sell a client, you're like, this is amazing, right? And then you got to go and you got to deliver it. And then you got to get things ready to sell the next client. And that kind of creates these peaks and valleys within the agency business. And that's something that I experienced a ton for myself. And what I found is with a little sales training, a little help, you can actually eliminate that roller coaster income, have prospects willing to pay you 2, 3, 5, even 10 times what you do today without any prior sales training. I never attended a sales academy. I never was a salesperson for another company. I knew how to build websites and I was really good at what I did, but I was leaving literally 7 figures on the table because I just didn't know how to value and present my services. I didn't know how to convince people or share with people why what I did was so valuable. And that cost me a lot in my business. Real quick temperature check, average price of your last 3 deals. So if you're doing stuff on a monthly level, just put like, 3K/M for like monthly, but what's kind of the price point of where we're at today? This will help me get a little bit of a baseline of the problem we're dealing with today. So let me know in chat. 1K a year. Got to have a lot of clients. Dave, do you have like a volume business? Like big volume? 6K, Tori, thank you. 2K a month, 25K per month. Very cool. 20K plus per project. Cool. Project-based minimum is around 1,800, about 1K a month. Cool. Yeah, so it's a good baseline. So we've got some like low 4-figure monthly type stuff up to some like low 5-figure stuff, 2K a month. Cool. So here's a good question, right? What do you want it to be? Are we clear about where we are versus where we want to be in terms of our average price? So just thinking about where you are today. So like George, for example, like $1,200 a month. Is that where you want to be at with your packages, or do you want to be at more than that? Oh, you are Jamie. Yeah, everybody's like, Jamie, yes, 20 to 25K a month. We all salute you, right? We can just kind of finish this conversation where we all want to be at where Jamie's at, right? Well, maybe, right? Because something tells me $20,000 to $25,000 a month, like, I don't know, Jamie, like you're probably like, what are you on the hook for, man? Like that's a legit retainer, right? You're probably on the hook for like some real, like people don't just like dole out, like they don't just like give their Amex away to people charging $25,000 a month, right? Like what are you delivering for 25K a month? I'm not sure if people have to type only today or they can come on mic, Christian.
Yeah, Jamie can speak if he wants to speak. Angel, you just need to press the unmute button.
All right, Angel is the gatekeeper today for
Yes.
all microphones.
All things, yeah.
All right, well, we can assume Jamie's delivering a lot for 20. Oh, there we go. Jamie, you're on mic.
Yeah, it's working now. So I'm not a digital agency. I am retained recruitment for the food sector.
Got it.
So that's why the value is quite high. But yeah, so we try and our average is to convert a deal per month, but the life cycle on those deals could be from closing, from winning the business to delivery could be 6 months, and that could be 6 months worth of costs in there. So it should convert quicker, but it doesn't always convert quicker, and we need more of them. That's not enough.
Well, so one thing that's really a great takeaway for me here, for everybody else who's got like $1,000 a month retainers, is you're in this recruitment business within the food industry, right?
Yep.
And you're probably using a lot of digital marketing voodoo to get candidates into these funnels, right? I mean, you're doing something, right, to get these people to get hired. Is that right?
Yeah.
But ultimately it's like finding new team members for these companies, right? And so that's a really good example of where you go from a low value commodity type retainer. Hey, we're going to do 5 blog posts for you a month, to a really high value. We're going to go find you your next employee, right? Which is an expensive problem. We might be using the same tactics and tools, but because we understand the end result our client's going after, we're going to be able to charge a lot more prices, right? So if I were to like summarize my whole position of going from low value offers to high value offers, like low value offer, we're going to do a scope of work. We're going to do a number of pages, a number of posts, a number of whatever per month. High value offer, we're going to get you a result, right? And so I think as we go through today's content, just be thinking about that the closer you can get to what your client ultimately wants, i.e. a client, i.e. money in their bank, and the more proven you are going to be at that result, the higher you can charge for your services, right? It's that simple. So if we're having a hard time charging more, yes, I can teach you some sales tactics to kind of bridge the gap today, but ultimately we need to be doing high value work for high value pay. Okay, high value work for high value pay. So today we're going to run through pretty quickly 3 critical shifts for successful agency sales. And I'm also going to talk about some tips on hiring salespeople. So we're going to be moving pretty quickly through this. If you guys want this deck, if you want any of other sales tools, you can feel free to shoot me an email and happy to give you our deck and some of the worksheets that I'll share today. So one of the challenges I think with every agency to kind of set up the problem here is that the phone rings and you may or may not have a process that's proven for how you sell as an agency. You might be making up that process as you go along. Like you might get an email in, and you might respond a certain way. You might get an email in and suggest a call. Maybe you don't suggest a call. Maybe you ask qualifying questions over email, right? Maybe you get on the first call and suggest some discovery. Maybe you suggest some proposal kind of step, right? Is having an inconsistent process, right? That's what I call the status quo process that most agencies are following. They don't really have a sales process that they're following. They have some gut intuition of the steps that are required for them to get to a deal, but they're not following a consistent sales process. So for just starters, you're never going to be able to hire a salesperson if you don't have a process that's proven and it's consistent that you can work over and over and over again, right? You're never going to go from you being the chief salesperson to somebody else being the salesperson. So we gotta fix that problem. Okay. So a couple of problems that also are created from that is you're probably not getting paid enough. You can't tweak your process to get better results because you don't have a process. It's whatever you feel like that day. And you might also be chasing bad fits. If you don't have a clear step in your sales process to qualify the business, qualify the client, you're going to go after every opportunity that comes through your way. You're not going to ask them qualification questions like, hey, how big is your business? How big is your team? What kind of revenue did you guys do last year? What kind of revenue are you thinking about doing this year? What's your current product? What's your most profitable product? What are your, what's your ARR? What's your conversion rate? What's your churn rate, right? Having qualification questions that are going to set you up to talk to the right people. We want to invest generously with prospects that fit our marketing and sales qualified lead criteria. And we want to get rid of people that are bad fits. And so if we're not following a process, we're not qualifying people appropriately early on in the process, then we get scared to raise prices because we're selling to people that we shouldn't be selling to. And so we start to feel like, oh my gosh, there's no way I could charge this client $3,000 a month for the service, and I'm currently charging $1,000 a month, probably because they're just the wrong client. So we start to get scared to raise our prices. Here's the opportunity. I think every one of you can build a process that creates an opportunity for you to get paid well, for you to beat your competition on every single opportunity, and for you to become the sought after expert without any marketing creating that experience, by purely having a sales process that positions you as the expert. Now, marketing helps when clients show up and they already see you as the expert. That's amazing. But your sales process should already be built to make your clients see you as the expert without any other things. And we want you to be able to raise your prices and win. Every one of you today that posted things like $2K a month, $1,000 a month, $1,800, $1,200 a month, $6K, $1K. I mean, these are low budgets. We got to get you to 5-figure deals. Every one of you is working your butts off to get clients. Every client in your business should be at least, unless you're selling at massive scale, which a lot of agencies would like to do, but very few are. Unless you're selling at massive scales, we need to get you to signing 5-figure deals. Your minimum client should be worth at least $12,000 a year, really $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. To me, the amount of energy you put into finding clients and selling those clients, retaining those clients, to build $1 million business, you need to have 5-figure clients coming in on a consistent basis. It's very difficult to build $1 million a year business. It's a service-oriented business with 4-figure clients. Okay. So we're going to go through 3 specific steps to go from those 4-figure deals to 5-figure. One is to sell with a process. Think of yourself as a salesperson as like a maitre d' at a super high-end restaurant. That maitre d' at a super high-end restaurant, like they don't make up the process for every customer that comes in. Like they have a very specific sequence of things that they take you through offering to give you a jacket, to, welcome you to the restaurant, asking if you had a reservation, taking you to the table. They pull out the chairs in a specific order. They hand you the menus. They ask for your drink order. They, put the napkins in your lap, right? They bring you like a little bit of bread, right? They have a very specific process. And then when you leave, you don't feel so terrible for dropping like $250 per person that was at the restaurant. You're like, holy crap, it's like $2,000 to have a meal. Like what just happened, right? But you're like, man, but it was smooth. It was smooth the whole way, right? And so you want to have that same level of attention to detail if you're going to be a high value operator. Like I've gone to agencies where literally they pitched me on $100,000 service, and like they didn't respond to my emails for days. They didn't like show up to the meetings on time. They didn't show up prepared. They didn't deliver the proposal to me when they told me they were. They didn't have a process. They're like shooting from the hip, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, we want you to spend $100,000 with us. Like, raise the bar. If you want to be doing high value services, how you do anything is how you do everything. Step it up and become a high value operator from the very first interaction you have with people. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to always book the next meeting. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Swingers, but the guy, Mikey, he gets into this thing, he gets the girl's number, and then he starts to like, instead of like making plans with her, he like calls her like, hey, it's Mikey. I don't know if you remember me, right? And he calls her again and again and again. And finally she picks up the phone and she's like, don't ever call me again, right? When we don't book the next meeting, you start to become Mikey, right? You say, oh yeah, I'll follow up with you next week. And what happens is next week rolls along and you start emailing your client. Hey, remember that meeting we had? Did you have time to look at the proposal? And they don't get back to you. And so the next week you email them again. Hey, it's me again. It's Brent. Just seeing how things are going, right? Like I have no idea when I'm meeting with you next. That's like sales, like amateur league, right? That's like in the baseball, that's not MLB baseball. That's like field leagues, right? Farm league baseball. Okay. So when you're in a meeting with somebody, just simply say, hey, Christian, this has been awesome. I'd love to create a proposal for you. If it works for you, let's get 30 minutes on the calendar, like let's say 1 or 2 days from now. That'll give me time to do my homework and prepare the proposal. And then we'll jump on a Zoom. I'll present it to you. We'll make sure it's hitting the mark, making sure it's everything that you want it to be. I'll give you the document from that point forward. You can share it with other stakeholders. Does Thursday at 2 p.m. work for you? If they're not willing to schedule a meeting with you, this is a glaring red flag. They're not willing to follow your process. If they're not willing to follow your sales process, they're not going to follow your client delivery process. They're not going to follow your billing process. You tell them net 30, they're going to pay you net 65. So this is a potential opportunity for you to identify, is this client willing to follow your processes, view you as an expert? If they're not, then just use it as an opportunity to handle the objection. Oh, cool. So it sounds like you're not willing to invest the time to figure out if we're the right solution. Is now even the right time for you to be looking at a new website or a new lead gen program, right? So always book the next meeting. The next thing is to present your proposal. I saw this as a question early on of what's the single most important part of the sales process. For me, hands down, proposal presentation. Like this is your opportunity to sell to your client. Sell to your client. Like, why would we outsource this to our inbox or bid sketch or quote roller, right? Like, I know there's lots of cool tools out there that will literally email your proposal and let you see like analytics, right? Like, why not just be on a meeting with the client? And like, when you're presenting something, if you see them disengage or you're seeing that they're not asking questions, like that's a red flag. Engaged prospects ask questions. They don't just go, yeah, everything looks good. Everything looks good. Hey, just run a quick temperature check, right? Sounds like you're not 100% clued in here. I would expect most clients that we're going to move forward with are going to actually have lots of questions at this point. Is there something that we're not understanding? Because I usually get a lot of questions at this part of the proposal. So just want to do a quick temperature check. Are we fully understanding what we're talking about here today? And that's where you might get, actually, I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea how this tool works or what you guys are doing, but it looks like you know what you're doing. It's like, oh, cool. Now I know that there's an objection. Okay. So to kind of recap those three points, we're going to sell with a process. We're going to always book that next meeting, and we're going to present our proposals. Okay. Shift number 1 from low budgets to 5-figure deals. Set up the next situation. Okay. This is what I call the commodity haggle, right? When you're presenting to your clients scopes of work that are features and their, number of pages, number of links, number of posts, right? It has nothing to do with the result that you're providing. You end up in a commodity haggle situation. Oh, can I get 10 link backs a month instead of 5 link backs a month for, $2,000 versus $3,000, right? It starts to become about the scope of work. If you're in that situation, it could be too late. You're already in the commodity haggle. Like, you've totally screwed up your positioning, right? Like, I love to haggle with people. I love going to countries where they have these big marketplaces. I went to Jamaica with my family, and, I go in and I negotiate for this little like bobble or whatever that every kiosk has like 100 of them. But if you find yourself in that situation, that's a bad place to be in, right? So what's the problem? You don't have any respect from the clients that you're pitching. If they're starting to haggle you over features and scope of work, they don't view you as an expert. You've already lost the game. You're tired of haggling. You don't want to lower your prices. You don't want to have different pricing for different clients. But you also feel like you're scared to guarantee results. If you're a lead gen agency, one of the scariest things might be for you to say, I'm going to promise you 100 leads a month guaranteed or your money back. That might make you sweat, right? And that starts to kind of freak you out. The reality is you're going to eventually, to really get to a high value offer, you're going to have to figure out how to get clients results, right? Which is going to probably mean that you need to start to figure out, who's your target market and start to get some patterns in the business. But this is a problem that will show up for you time and time again when you're in the commodity space, when you start shifting you into the value game where you can start promising bigger things to clients. So what's the opportunity? We want you to be seen as the expert. We want a smooth close. We want to have consistent high value deals. High value deals to me are 5- and 6-figure clients, where the LTV for you should definitely be 5 figures a year for every client you sign. And the total LTV should be like 6 figures and beyond for every client that an agency signs on. And you want to be seen as a partner with your clients where you're pursuing results together. So how do we go from commodity competition to high value domination? The first thing is you're going to start to find $100,000 problems. If you're selling a solution right now and you're charging $1,000 a month, $10,000 a year, like, you got to find $100,000 problem to solve for that. We were talking to Jamie earlier. Jamie's solving $1 million problems. That's why he's making $25,000 a month, because he's solving lots and lots of $100,000 problems. Every team member he finds for a company might be worth $100,000 or $200,000 or $300,000. So they're willing to pay him $20,000 to $25,000 a month. So if you're currently solving like really low value problems, that's an issue. You need to start looking for $100,000 problems in the businesses that you're working with. The next thing we want to do is we want to start leveraging value language. And what I mean by that is, if you're talking to your clients about stuff that's like, number of pages, number of links, number of posts, number of search engine ranking positions, number of leads, number of outbound message attempts or whatever, right? That's not value language. That's like stuff. Value is what's the end result? What's the outcome? What's that going to create for the client? Are you spending more of your time talking about that stuff? Or are you talking about, in the weeds of, number of candidates, number of leads, number of MQLs? So we want to leverage more value language, the stuff that your clients really care about. Another opportunity in your sales process is to monetize your sales process. If you're not currently selling your sales process as a service, as a strategy package, this could be an opportunity for you where you can actually position your discovery process, your blueprinting process as a paid engagement. And this is just a great way for you to, again, position your brain as the valuable stuff not just your hands, right? A lot of people are giving away for free what they should be charging for. So you have an opportunity to sell that in your process. When we talk about those $100,000 problems, right? The discovery process, this, I don't know if I can go to, you can feature my video, Angel, or kind of have me spotlighted. But this is a tool we use in our community called the 100K Problems Blueprint, going deep and wide with people. Okay, so what I mean by that is as you're going through a discovery process with somebody, as they're talking about their business, you know, unpacking and
sorry to stop you here, Brent. Are we getting this? Is everyone
you should be seeing it on my camera? That's what I was asking Angel to spotlight me if you could.
Can you do that, Angel? Can you see if there's a setting to pin?
There we go.
There we go.
Sorry, I thought I clicked it already.
All good. You probably pinned me. There's a difference in Zoom. So when we go into our framework, right, we have things that give us deep insights into a business. So when you're in a sales conversation, right, like, why is this important? You know, why do you think that's happening? Why does this need to get solved right now? Why do you think we're a good fit to solve this, right? I freaking love this question, right? So somebody comes into my business, right? Hey, we're an agency. We're struggling to get leads and clients. We, you know, we're not happy with where we're currently at. Awesome. Why do you think we're a good fit to solve this? And, you know, the assumption is I should be telling that though, right? So all of a sudden I'm asking them, like, why the heck did you call about me? Like, why do you think I'm the company, right? And all of a sudden on your very first interaction, you've got somebody convincing you why you're the solution to their problem, right? So you might have somebody who's hired 10 agencies and you're the 11th agency, right? So why hasn't what you've tried before worked? Right? So really understanding what's going on with the client. Using open-ended questions, right? Tell me more about, can you connect the dots for me? What's still unclear to me is this, right? And using reflective, what I think I'm getting is this, what stood out to me is this, right? So we're digging into something within the client space. And then going wide with the client, right? So every one of your clients, you should have a really broad understanding of what's their vision and mission. What do they show up looking for? What are the problems they know about? What are the problems that they know about that they might not be telling you? What are the problems that you know that they have, but they don't yet know that they have that you could also use in your solution presentation? Are you clear on their goals and objectives? Do you know what success metrics and KPIs look like? Do you know who their customer is, who their industry is, who their market is? Are you clear on their top 3 competitors? Do they even know who their top 3 competitors are? Right? When I go through and do discovery with somebody, I'm unpacking all of this stuff. So I'm super clear on who my client is, what their pains and problems are. So selling them on a $100,000 solution isn't actually that hard. Okay. One more shift for today, and then we're going to get to questions because I promised Christian that we would do that quickly. So our second shift was from commodity competition to high value domination. So the third shift is every one of you is going to get a big opportunity in the next 3 to 6 months. I don't know when that is, but the question is whether or not you have the right sales support to get you there. Do you have a sales system beyond a process that's going to help you win that client when it happens? You're going to get your big break. And the question is whether or not you're going to be able to actually take advantage of it. Here's the problem. Trial and error is not a business strategy. If you aren't clear on your sales process, your value proposition, your model, your process, your offer, it's going to leave you feeling overwhelmed, like you're inventing your sales situation and your proposal on every single client. You're going to feel isolated. You're going to feel alone in this process, and you might feel scared that you're not going to get the deals that you need to create the business you want, or you're going to be scared that you're not going to be able to get out of the sales seat. So there's an opportunity. Use a proven system, spend more time in flow, and feel like you've got some support in your business and feel like you're confident in your sales process. So the third and last shift is going from a lone survivor to what I call a sales superstar. The first point here is to break your scarcity mindset. So a lot of you're on a call here with a bunch of other agencies. That's a great step, right? Go and talk to other agencies that are in your market that look like competitors and ask them about their services. Ask them about their markets. talk to them, figure out if there are ways that you can collaborate. I used to look at every web agency in the Denver, Colorado region as like my enemy. What I realized when I finally started reaching out and actually working with these people was that they became allies. They could refer me clients. I could see their offers. We talk about where we kind of fit in the marketplace. And I got more clear on my value proposition, on my offer, and where I could help in the market and differentiate. So start looking at your competitors, start looking at other companies in your industry or in your niche as allies, not as competitors, to break that scarcity mindset. Number 8 is seek outside mentorship. Now, obviously, I run a coaching program. Would love it if all of you called me tomorrow and signed up. But whether it's me or somebody else, find yourself a sales coach, because you're too close to the thing, right? You're in the system. If you sat down and listened to a sales call that you're currently on by yourself, you're only going to get like 5% of the insights. If we sat down together and listened to a call that each one of you had with a prospect, like the amount of insights that we're going to pull out is going to be amazing, because I'm going to see things that you don't see. I'm going to see how you show up on that phone call, right? How does your Zoom meeting start? Are you prepared? What kind of language are you using? What's your body positioning and body posture? What kind of things are you talking to your clients about? How do you talk about your services? So there's this old saying that we can't read the label from inside the bottle. So you need to seek somebody else to help you come in. My first sales mentor was a guy named Townsend Wardlaw. I went to him and I said, "Hey, dude, I love your content. Can you help me sell?" And I'd never bought a course in my life. And he said, "Yeah, great. I'll come in and work with you for an hour a week." I was like, "Cool. What's that going to cost? Like a couple $100?" He was like, "No, it's going to cost $1,000 a week." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is insane," right? I ended up being a client of Townsend's for like almost 3 years, because I was getting so much out of having somebody look at my process with me every week and to improve that over and over. My last point here is to pursue sales mastery. This happens in 2 ways. One is by having a clear scorecard when it comes to sales. So do you know what your number of leads that are coming in every week are? Do you know how many proposals you're presenting? Do you know how many proposals you're presenting to sales qualified leads? What's your close rate? What's your LTV? You need to measure these things like crazy, and you need to create feedback loops. One of my favorite feedback loops is call recordings and actually reviewing calls. Also doing feedback loops with people that don't move forward with you. So do post sales interviews with them and asking them questions like, "Hey, why didn't you move forward with us? Was it a competitor that you chose? What was their proposal? What was their offer?" When I started doing this for my company, the amount of my lost deals that went with a more expensive competitor that offered less services than us, like, kept me up at night. And I had to sleep with that. I had to figure out how to, what I was doing wrong in my sales process that was getting my ideal customers to sign up with somebody else instead of signing up with me. And so that sales mastery is feedback loops and measurement. You got to have those things in place. Every one of you should have a sales scorecard that you're looking at every single week in your business, and you're trying to move those numbers in the right direction, and then having feedback loops in the process where you're listening to calls that you're doing. You're also talking to clients that you've won. You're talking to clients that you've lost, and you're trying to figure out, why are the people that are moving forward with you, and why are the people that you're not winning going forward with somebody else. And that's shift. That's the final shift. So to recap, from low budgets to 5-figure deals, from commodity competition to high value domination, and from lone survivor to sales superstar. Christian, I have the bonus slides about the sales team, but I also realize I'm at 29 minutes of me talking, and I want to get to some questions with your folks. So maybe we do a few questions and come back to that later.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's do that.
Cool.
I want to see those myself as well.
How do you want to dig into these questions?
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for that. That was packed with insight. Really awesome. Let's start with a question from Tori. Do you think that niching down into a specific industry or vertical is necessary for agency owners to scale?
Oh, dude, this is my favorite. So is it necessary to scale? So, I mean, my belief is yes. I highly recommend it to scale. So let's just think about this, right? So Tori, what services do you offer? Was it? Yeah, it was Tori that asked that question, right?
Yeah.
I know. I guess. Okay, gotcha. And Tori's going to be in chat. So let's just, and I won't make this a conversation because it might be hard to get people on mic because we got to enable those. But when we think about like, and can we spotlight my my iPad again by chance? Cool. So when I think about scaling in a market or scaling your business in general, we kind of go through like these three distinct stages, right? The first stage is what I call market traction. The next stage is what I call market authority. And the third stage is market scale. Okay. So let's imagine for a moment that the client benchmarks here is we've got 0 clients to 5 clients, then to 10 clients to 25 plus clients. Okay. If we're just trying to imagine, right, managing 25 clients, or like at UGURUS, we have about roughly 100 clients that are in our 1-year program, right? They cost between $10,000 and $20,000 a year to be a part of, right? So for me to offer a solution to 100 people requires systems. It requires SOPs. It requires a lot of pattern recognition. It requires a single offer, right? That we can actually offer a consistent thing to like fill the funnel and get salespeople to buy things, right? It requires, right? I can't sell personally the amount that I would need to, so I've got to have a team in place, right? And there's all of these like complexities that I look at, right? From where you are with lead gen to lead nurture to sales to delivery to finance, right? There's like all these systems that have to work together. And if every client that you have coming in is like a unique and different snowflake, like it creates these second order impacts, right? Like if you don't have a consistent type of client, where do you go to find your clients? Do we have a market? Do we have an audience? When we go to Facebook and I hire an agency to run ads for me, are we clear on who our client is? Or do we say things like, I'm trying to find small businesses? So do we have to have a market to scale? I'm sure we can find a dozen agencies that scale to great heights without having a market. I just think that it's really hard and you're going to create a lot less freedom. When I talk to a lot of agency owners that are 7-figure agency owners that are not niched, I mean, I hate to pass judgment, but their life is kind of miserable. Like they're chasing so many things and they're involved in marketing and they're involved in sales and they're involved in client delivery and they're in every client meeting and they have to save the day when it comes to sales all the time. When I talk to like my clients who are highly niched, like they have team members in their business that are doing lead gen and they're not involved, right? They have a team and a system that are doing lead nurture. They have a salesperson who's selling for them 40 hours a week or 2 salespeople. They have a team that's delivering on SOPs to deliver that product or service, right? They have finance systems, right? The agency owner themselves becomes more of a business owner, right? And so I don't see that as common with agencies that are generalist. I see agencies that are highly niched have been able to create those systems. So that's just kind of what I see in the marketplace, what we advocate for. But it definitely, you don't have to get there overnight.
All right. Awesome. I'm not sure if we need to unspotlight you. I guess.
Angel's she's gonna be managing the spotlight, unspotlight, spotlight, unspotlight, right?
I just pressed gallery view for myself and I see fine now, but yeah. So next question actually also comes from Tori. This was submitted prior. What to outsource first once you've hit the ceiling of what you can do on your own?
In the context of delivery, Tori, I assume, and Tori, you look like you're active in chats. So what to outsource first in terms of delivery? That's a great. So here's a tool that we use, and the reason I'm going to show this is just more for a high level context of this. I call this my task by seat spreadsheet. So what you basically do is you want to unpack what are all the tasks when it comes to how you deliver what you do in your business. And so you can do that easily on a worksheet or a spreadsheet. I also like to look at what's the persistence of those tasks. How much time do those tasks take on a weekly or daily basis? And then we use what we call a load factor adjustment. So we look at that tasks and we weight it on how much energy that task is going to take over a 5-year period. And that gets us to this number, right? 2,600, 780. The only reason that number is important is it should help you to group activities into seats so that you know what to offload that's going to have the biggest impact on you and your business, right? Because a lot of times we might hire somebody that is going to take over a task that we're not actually even doing that often, right? So we want you to do is we want you to look for what are the things that are like the daily things that are taking up a ton of your time. And so once you figure out that load factor across all the tasks that you're doing in your business, then you can kind of calculate that. So how do you determine the load factor? We look at the daily, the persistence. We look at the hours that it takes per interval, and we simply multiply that. So you can see up here, I've got kind of this crazy little formula up here. And so if you guys want access to this, it's cool. Is it okay, Christian, if I share my email for people that want this? Okay.
Of course.
Yeah. If you guys want that, just share, just shoot me an email and just say you want the task by seat tool, and I'll share this with you. And then you can just copy it and you can go fill it out and with some of the common tasks in your business. Okay. But the general idea there is if something's taking you 2 hours a day and it's the persistence is daily, then that's going to be, 10 hours a week. 10 times 52 times 5 is going to get us to that load factor of 2,600. Okay. So that's one way of identifying that. Another way of figuring out what to outsource is going to be more around what's giving you energy and what's not giving you energy. This is a tool from my friends over at EOS called the Delegate Elevate. And so that's really just looking at the stuff that you love doing versus the stuff that you like doing and the stuff that you don't like, but you're good at. And then there's the stuff that you don't like that you're not good at, right? And so just get a legal pad, list out all the stuff that you do in your business, and then, identify what's the stuff that you love doing that you're great at. Cool, we're going to keep that. There's the stuff that you like doing that you're pretty good at. So we're going to make sure that we also look at that. And the goal there is to then use your free time to take the stuff that you like doing that you're good at and start to elevate that to things that you're great at. And then what we want to do is we want to get rid of all the stuff that we don't like doing. Right. So this would be more of a way, instead of looking at the amount of time it's taking you, to instead manage your energy as an owner and start to get rid of the things that might be they might not be taking a lot of time from you, but you like dread doing them, and I always look at like the mental load. So for example, for me, like sending invoices was always something that I dreaded doing. Really bad for business, right? Because if you don't send invoices, you're not getting paid. And so I just like hated sending invoices for some reason. It didn't take me very long. It took me like 20 minutes or an hour, but I would think about it for like all my free time. I'd be like, oh man, I gotta send those invoices, right? I was feeling guilty about it like all the time when the actual task itself only took about 30 minutes or whatever, right? So when I outsourced that, when I got a VA to handle my invoicing, it freed up like 30 minutes a week of actual work time. But it actually freed up like a ton of mental load. All of a sudden, I went from like feeling guilty of not sending invoices every day to like, I just don't think about it. It just runs, right? So there's kind of two schools of thought there, right? Manage your energy as an owner, and then also looking at what are those things that like brass tacks are just taking up a huge amount of time.
That's awesome. Really like that one. So let's do maybe 2 more questions, and then we can jump into your training
bonus slides.
Yeah, bonus slides. So question from Zabiso: how to position the value of your service so that the price is a no-brainer? You spoke about the solving $100,000 problems, but I guess Zabiso was asking more about positioning. Yeah.
So like there's two like I call them kind of your 2 sales drivers. One is are we able to quantify the benefits, right? So can you create a scenario for your client where you're delivering 10 times the value for 1/10 the cost? Okay, that's a good like rule of thumb in terms of quantifying the benefits. right? Like if you can paint a picture for your lead gen services are going to get them clients with an LTV of X, right? And you're going to get them this many leads, this many clients, right? Or this many leads that'll turn into this many clients, and those clients will generate this much revenue, right? If you can present that case where you're able to say, look, if we map this out, if we project this out over the next 3 years, we're going to be helping you generate over $1 million a month in new business, right? And our service only costs, $10K a month, right? So now we've been able to deliver 10X, 10 times the value for 1/10 the cost, right? Instead of a traditional cost model of like, hey, we're going to give you $1 million of value and we're going to charge you $100,000 a month. If you can get them $1 million of value, again, pen and paper, like napkin math value for like quantifiable value, tangible value, emotional value. And if you can deliver that for $10,000 a month because you're so awesome at what you do, like that's an amazing place to get to. Okay. The other sales lever is, can you help them mitigate risk? Okay. So this is when it comes to your guarantees, right? So having a money back guarantee, having some type of risk reversal, right? So like if I'm generating leads for a client, I might say, hey, you know what? Try our service. If we don't get you 30 leads in the first 30 days, we're going to give you 100% of your money back. So now not only do we have a great package, a great value in terms of our price, hey, we're going to generate $1 million in LTV for you every single month for only $10,000. And if we haven't generating you 30 leads so that this model can actually take off for you in the first 30 days, we're going to give you 100% of your money back. Right. So now we have two really good components. We've got the value component, 10 times the value for 1/10 the cost. And we have the risk component of trying to remove risk from the table, from the purchasing decision. Now, all of this requires that you're able to deliver on your promise. So if you're not actually that good at what you're doing, or you can't get clients results, then that's something that you got to look at as a business.
Nice. Really awesome. All right, let's. I'm sorry for everyone who didn't get their questions answered. Brent is now going to present the bonus slide, which I'm sure will be hugely valuable. So let's go with that.
All right. Thanks, Christian. So sales pitfalls here. Most agencies fail at hiring and keeping salespeople because this is basically the problem. Right? I need more sales, so let's hire a salesperson. Every single one of you is doing sales for your business right now. Was the vibe I got in chat, right? And so when you think, oh, I need more sales, the logical thing is for you to say, I'm going to hire a salesperson, and then this person comes in and work for you, and you're like, hey, do what I do, generate sales, right? And here's the problem, right? Generating sales is actually done with at least 3 different seats. So you're all entrepreneurs. You're probably sitting in like 9 seats in your business already, right? But to generate revenue, there's kind of 3 critical seats. And there's even some potential for sub seats in here when we start to build out sales teams where we actually have multiple seats that are fulfilling these goals. So one of the biggest mistakes I see agencies make is they try to hire a salesperson and they give them the responsibility of these 3 key seats, which is marketing, sales, and accounts. So at a high level, you need to understand, like, marketing's function in your business is to generate marketing qualified leads. So that means people that fit your target demographic, geographic, psychographic. They're somebody who has intent to buy your type of services or to solve the type of problem that your agency solves, and they have showed up for a scheduled sales call. Okay. Now, a lot of people think like, oh no, that's sales jobs to get sales appointments. No. That's marketing's job, right? Marketing's job is not brand awareness. It's not all this kind of like touchy-feely stuff. Like, marketing exists to get qualified buyers to show up to engage in a sales process. Sales job is to convert those leads and opportunities into revenue, dollars that we can feel and touch, contracts, proposals that are signed and committed, right? And then we have accounts, which is people that work with existing customers. People that have already drank the Kool-Aid, they're already on board. They have a contractual relationship, and our job in accounts is retention. Okay. So what happens when I see early stage agencies, they go, oh, I need a salesperson, and they hire one person, and they're like, I need you to go out and generate leads, and I need you to close some deals, and I need you to manage all these existing accounts. These are 3 different types of people. They're not only 3 different types of people, but they're 3 very different types of days. So somebody that sits in a marketing or demand gen seat Their calendar is lots of unscheduled blocks of time, large swaths of unscheduled time, where they're able to work on complex marketing projects and initiatives, and they're able to do work that does not fit to and adhere to a schedule. I'm going to show you this, right? So just thinking about tactically, right? What does a salesperson calendar look like versus what does a marketing person's calendar look like? So at UGURUS, we have these two seats, right? So Joe is my marketing lead. So let's look at Joe's calendar. What do we see going on with Joe's calendar?
Empty, just like mine.
Nothing. It looks like Joe's not busy at all, right? Do you know how many applications Joe drove to our business last month? Like marketing qualified leads, people that applied and showed up for a sales conversation, like over 120. It was beautiful, right? But Joe's calendar is empty. It doesn't mean she's not busy, but it's empty, right? Let's go take a look at Diana's calendar, our salesperson. What does Diana's calendar look like?
Holy crap.
Lots of sales appointments. All right. Does Diana have time to do demand gen? Hell no. She's selling, right? So this is the mistake, right? When we hire a salesperson, is we don't have enough leads for a salesperson, right? Or we don't have, we think that a salesperson can go out there and generate leads for us, do SDR work, right? I've got an SDR, right? We've got a setter. Matt, his calendar is kind of in between. Lots of unscheduled time to be going out and contacting people, nurturing relationships over Facebook Messenger and email. He's got some individual appointments with people that we're having conversations with. But again, it's kind of in the middle. It's a little bit of unscheduled time and some small, really lightweight appointments because he's got to go through a lot of contacts. He kind of sits in the middle, right? So what we want to do is if you're gonna start to think about bringing on somebody to do that sales stuff for you, we need to get really clear on what's the next problem for us to solve. If you're the current chief salesperson and you're also doing demand gen, you need to make a decision. Do you see yourself, if you hired a salesperson, do you then have enough time to go and market to the level you would need to fill that person's calendar? So you need to move from, like, right now you're doing all three of these functions. Your chief marketing officer, your chief sales officer, your chief accounts officer. You hire a salesperson, that's great. The next thing that you need to do is you need to step into that marketing seat. You need to use that new time that you just freed up. You need to step over into generating marketing qualified leads so you get that person's calendar full. And once you've got enough cash flow to afford a full-time demand gen person, then that's your next hire. When you start having tons of accounts coming into your business where you can't even keep your head straight, then hire a member success or customer success person or an account manager to basically take those accounts and to focus on retention. Okay. So we need to split these three seats. Like, there's nobody, like, the people that are out there that are great at marketing, they're great at sales, they're great at account management. These are called entrepreneurs and they all have their own business. They're not looking to go work for you. So you need to split up these ideas into three different components. If the greatest salespeople in the world, like, they expect you to drive traffic to their calendar. They don't want to be out there bird dogging for business. Now, they will do follow up and nurture once they have an opportunity. It is their job to kind of stay in front of that person. But like, you know, Diana on my team, like, she drives over $1 million a year in business to our company. Like, I want her to be optimized and focused and with customers. I don't want her to be figuring out what's our next marketing strategy or business development strategy. Okay. So as you start to think about this, don't think about like, oh, I'm going to hire a biz dev person, and by giving them a generic title, that's going to solve your revenue generation problem. Either hire somebody who's going to be a closer, hire a demand gen person, or an account manager as three distinct seats in your business. Cool, Ben, that's it. I'm happy to answer questions for the last 5 minutes, Christian, but I hope this has been valuable.
This has been hugely valuable, Brent. Yeah, if you could start screen sharing. Really, really awesome. And yeah, we don't really have much time for questions anymore, but let's move on to you telling us what UGURUS does and you know, where we can find you at.
Yeah, sure. So as I mentioned in the intro, so think of UGURUS as like a business coaching and business accelerator for digital agencies. If you're currently looking to attract more leads, win more deals, deliver and delight your clients so you can scale the freedom you have in your business, we might be able to help, or we might be able to point you in the direction of somebody that can. If you guys are interested in grabbing my deck or my notes, I've got some other resources for you, that task by seat spreadsheet and stuff like that. I'm happy to have you guys drop me an email. And on that niching subject, I did write a book on basically on agencies niching called Get Rich in the Deep End. And if you guys want to also just email me, I'm happy to hook up any of you guys that are on today's call with a free copy of that. So just, shoot me an email and just be like, hey, I was on the quick mail session, and I'll get Amber to send you a copy of my book.